Good morning. I am tired. Are you tired?
I'm as tired as a 17-year-old could be, yeah, sadly enough.
Yeah. Well, there's a good reason that we are talking this morning. I'm joined on Zoom. Introduce yourself to the listener.
Hi everybody, my name is Fortúne Igiebor. I'm based in Blanchardstown, Dublin, Ireland, and I'm a 17-year-old aspiring rapper.
Great introduction. Welcome to the Lame Heart podcast. First things first. Super excited. Super excited to leap into this music because you have your first EP. You had The Mantra, you had Henry Hill this year, and now Disruption and Order. It's done. It's finally there. You've gone through that absolute mountain that it feels like trying to finish your first project, and it is absolutely done. And I had such a good time listening to it. What is it about?
I'm glad you liked it, yeah.
How has it been?
It's been, to be honest, it's been a really rushed and stressful time period in the simple case of there had been so much that had gone into the project and making it that the last thing anybody would want to do is disappoint, especially on my end. So it's really just a case of making sure we can reach as many eyes and ears as we can and just hope that we made good enough music for everybody to enjoy, essentially. I think it's just more nervous than anything.
Yeah, well, it's great to see people creating and having an output in any artistic field at the moment, especially when it comes out of Ireland. And congratulations, by the way, on finishing school.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to have gotten my shortcut out of it, if anything, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be part of, in years to come, the fabled year that never did the leaving cert.
Yeah, the 1 year 2020.
Part of me is a little jealous because I remember how I was the first year that they changed the grading system for the leaving cert.
Is it?
So everyone...
That was you.
That was me. I kept my cool, but everyone around me was freaking the fuck out about the fact that the brackets were changing. So I know you won't have to deal with that now, but it's a big milestone. Anyways, let's leap into it. Your EP, Disruption and Order, out now. There are 6 tracks on it, varying types of tracks on it as well. Give us a quick breakdown of each track.
So we decided to, myself and the producer SQ, who had someone I had worked with from the start of my music career, really decided to reminisce to a time where we had felt like we had made our first quote unquote hit, which was a song that we had made in 2018 called Majestic. Now, it wasn't, to us now, obviously, compared to what we've made today, it's nothing too special, but at the time, it was something so close to our hearts because a lot of people had taken such a liking to that song. So we wanted to reflect that time period and start off the project by remembering where we're coming from and appreciating where we are. And that's really just the essence of the first track.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the name Furious Styles came from, I'm not sure if you had seen a movie by John Singleton called Boys in the Hood with Ice Cube and Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, I haven't.
It's definitely worth a watch, but there's a character in the movie called Furious Styles who I had found as just such a down-to-earth and realistic person, and that's somebody that's a character that I admired immensely and intensely, and I really wanted to try and take his advice and virtues of life and apply them to my life, which is where the name of the song came from, because I feel like the lyrics that I'm speaking of in said song kind of reflect to the mindset that character had put me in. So that's really where the first track came from.
Yeah.
Peace and Peas.
This one is my favorite.
Is it? Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Great. Yeah, because we had been sitting on this song for probably the longest time. The hook was always there. The verse was always there. It was just a case of finding the perfect feature, because I knew I wanted a really strong voice to complement mine on the track as well. And there were countless different people who said yes. And there was only really one who had said yes and managed to get something back to me, which was Waterford's very finest, Young Shakur. And I was glad to have him on the track because he's somebody who I feel like is similar to me in the sense of the Irish gene. We just want to be somebody for the younger artists and the younger people. And we really just rap about doing the best for ourselves, for the best of the country. We don't want violence. We just want to keep our peace and make our money and keep it pushing. And that really just sums it up in terms of that track, yeah.
Yeah, I really like his verse, and obviously with this being a bilingual podcast, I love that he had like a tiny bit of Gaeilge in there, saying like sipping Irish fian. It's really good, and I can tell you now, you're gonna have to like have some deep breaths performing this live, because
Oh, yeah, no, I never thought about that when recording it as well.
well, I think it sits very well on the line between, you could listen to it just like lazing about on grass if you wanted, but it can also get like a crowd hyped up at a show.
I never looked at it that way. I'm glad that you see it that way, and I'm really glad that you like the song, because that was one of the harder ones to get out and get finished.
Yeah, no, it has this really good like kinetic energy to get you dancing. Up next we have Blackberry Babe, which you've been playing on Radio Nif a few times, and it was released in advance of the EP.
Yeah, the lead single itself, yeah. It was it's funny because Peace and Peas was actually supposed to be the lead single, and we had this crazy video shoot planned. But obviously with COVID and everything happening this year, we couldn't get Young Shakur to come up for the music video. So we had said I didn't want to release another song without putting out a music video to complement it. So we said, which track would we want people to hear first, just to give the type of vibe that we're trying to set in some of the tracks on the EP. And a lot of me and my friends loved Blackberry Babe for the energy that it came with, and the lyricism and the storytelling side of it. So we decided to go with that, and it's probably one of my least serious-hearted songs, in a sense of it goes back to 2019, where I just released Heartbroke Joe, and I was working towards Diva Darlings. I think Diva Darlings was done at the time, and obviously I've been lucky enough to get my name out a little bit more. I'm getting invited to a couple more parties. I'm getting a bit more attention from my friends, a couple of girls here and there. So I'm trying to. This is a period. Yeah, sadly enough, this is a. It's a time. It was a time period where I just wanted to kind of kick back and have fun, which I'm glad I got to. And Blackberry Babe really just kind of tells the story of that time period. It's something. I feel like it's something more for my close friends to kind of understand and connect with, especially the two people that had been there during the time period to see everything play out. I feel like they'd understand some of the more, how do I say, secretive lyrics than most other people would. Yeah,
that's like a really mature outlook to have on it, in that you didn't let yourself get sort of too lost in it when you start, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in it when people start, when you've worked so hard on something and people start giving you that bit more attention. Feels like you're going somewhere with it, and I know most artists don't want it to be like this, but it is a bit of validation in that sense when you get more attention for it. It's so easy to get lost and wrapped up in all that. So the fact that you could kind of take a little bit of time and then look back on that and write a retrospective on it is really cool. And I love the ending. I love the ending with like the DMC where you're getting told off.
Yeah, funny enough, that wasn't scripted, that wasn't anything. It was just one of the genuine calls that I was lucky to have with one of my close friends, Daniel's, because I don't know, I kind of let my head run wild a little bit with certain situations such as relationships and love, and I'm lucky to have those people next to me to kind of keep me humbled, in a sense of don't let the wins get to your head, and just don't let the losses get to your heart. And I was really lucky to have him there to keep that message in me during the project, so I had to have that little interluded phone call there.
Yeah, well, aren't those the best people, the ones who will tell you off when you need to be told off? Emerald Boulevard.
Yeah, this one kind of came in a sense of when I was with the time period I was talking about in Blackberry Babe is somewhat similar to the time period I'm talking about in Emerald Boulevard. Emerald Boulevard, you could say, is late 2019 right up to this day, where it's a sense of I took what he'd said on that phone call where he said that I don't need to be so stoic and emotionless or try to come across as it all the time. And I said, okay. I sat with it for a whole night, and I said I wanted to try to do something around this. So I shouted one of the producers that I work with on one of my features, Love Is Real, and I said I want to try to do something slow related to love again. And he said, okay. I said, can we try do something like this? I listened to one of the Drake songs that inspired me, and then he said, give me a couple of days to figure it out. Give it 2-3 days. He comes back to me with a draft, and then we banged it out. And I knew I wanted to work with the gorgeous Mia Yarmechi for the longest time, because she had been sending me her music, her covers actually. She had never written anything original, so this was the first time for her to get to do something official for herself. And there's honestly nobody else that I would have rather done it with. Even through the lyrics and the things that I speak about in the song, I feel like the person that I chose to do this song with makes it so much more unique in a way, because I've never heard a voice like her in this country, and I love her passion in her voice, and I love her efforts that she put into making this work. And I can't lie, I stepped on her neck a little bit to kind of get things done, and I owe her the world for getting it back to me on due time. And surprisingly, it's Peace and Peas and Emerald Boulevard that are everybody's favorite. That's her listen to it up till now.
Yeah, and it's really nice when you get that like good feature on it, because you can definitely be like doing trial and error with lots of people, and it just doesn't work, or you love them but it's not right or anything. One thing I noticed in the next track, Delirious, I loved the shout out to JME.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody would get that too. Oh yeah.
No, I've had that song for like 4 years.
Yeah,
in my
it was one of the
library
early
now.
ones that I tried doing. It was one of the early songs when I just started writing my lyrics or taking it any bit seriously. And I remember listening to 96 Fuckeries and I didn't understand how somebody could be so talented lyrically. So once I'd remembered back to that time period of when I was trying so hard to come together with lyrics, I was so grateful that I could write Delirious in the space of maybe like 10, 15, 20 minutes and get it out in the day. And I think...
best feeling.
Yeah, honestly to God. Because it's like we were saying, there are some songs where you could get them done in 5 minutes, maybe an hour. And then there are some songs you'd be up till 2 a.m. trying to finish it just like yourself. And that shout out was really just another one of those reflections to a time period where I was trying so hard to write lyrics, and I just look at my inspirations and kept it going the same way they did.
Brilliant. And we're on to the last track, Top Dogs. There's a lot to unwrap here.
This is probably the most emotional I'd gotten in a song before, in the sense of we had been beating around the bush with this track from the second I said that I wanted to do the EP with SQ. And it was a sense of, I made a list of all the songs that I wanted to try, and I had potential song names for all the songs that I wanted to write around. And this was when I was in South Africa, and I remember telling him I want to do something similar to this, and I want to call it Status Quo, because my idea of writing the song was I wanted to speak about how the Irish scene right now is all about where you are in terms of popularity and numbers, to a specific extent, of course, because through my time period of last year and this year making music, I've been blessed to meet so many artists who pulled their hair out trying to get their music to new audiences and new eyes and new ears. And I'd felt like this for the longest time myself. To this day, I still feel like this. And it was just coming from a place of, even it's evident in the hook, I could never sleep on those artists' efforts and grinds and hustle that they put into making their music happen. But then again, I can't watch myself and younger artists bend their back backwards trying to make a name for themselves. More time putting in more work than some other artists I've seen myself, and still get maybe half the results or half the profit. And Top Dogs is probably the song that I want to cement my place and what I want to stand for in the music scene. I'd love to be known as an artist with amazing lyricism, unique flows and everything, but more than anything, if I could leave the scene doing anything, I just want to create that door for artists such as myself, just so we don't have to knock on every single door myself. Such as I said in the song, I've felt like I've been knocking on so many doors and just getting told no, maybe next time. But sure, we can only see what comes out of Disruption in Order anyway. But Top Dogs is something that I can be confident in and say that I'm really proud that I got to get that finished.
Well, that sounds like really I don't know how to put it, like invasive in a way, in terms of vulnerability, you know? Because even people who are doing reasonably well in Ireland now, they still like haven't made a living out of it at all. They still have to, like yourself, knock on every single door and get 10 no's for every yes. So I knew there was a lot to unpack in it.
Yeah, it's even in the case of taking Ireland as a country. I'm sure you know yourself, there are so many amazing artists in this country, in different counties, and there's so many unique businesses that are flourishing. But I feel like we need to shine a spotlight on ourselves worldwide, because the music that's being made in this country, it's too good to be missed. It breaks my heart genuinely that the whole world can't hear what we're making. Take for the likes of example, Jafaris' Stride album was so inspiring to me that I genuinely think it was of potential of being anywhere worth an Album of the Year award.
It had so much there was so much to unpack, and I actually have my vinyl of it over. I'm looking at it over there in the other corner of the room. It was brilliant.
I was blessed to get to speak to him on one of his Instagram lives, and he told me that they had worked on it for such a long time. And even then, he said that he had scrapped the first draft completely and then redid the version that we all get to listen to in the space of maybe 2 weeks. And that, the ability to do that is insane to me. It takes an insane work rate to do that, and it's only what I'm trying to work towards.
Yeah, and big ups to him and Chris, the producer, who created such... I can't even put it into words because...
there's no words to describe that album other than it's genuinely ahead of its time. It's going to age like wine.
Yeah, it was so good to listen to, and his show in the Button Factory was definitely the best show I've ever seen in a venue that capacity. It wasn't just like you get up there and you sing your songs and you dance around. It was a theatrical show. But enough of the... we're here to talk about you. But yeah, loving Jafaris. The EP is called Disruption and Order, and you say, because I wrote this down because I loved this kind of description, you said it's a way of formulating order in the disruption through the music because that's where you have the most control. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know if I should be happy to say this or kind of worried, but for the longest time I felt like my music symbolizes who I am. And if my music isn't doing good as a project, I feel like I'm not doing good as a person. So while it is something that I'm trying to work on in terms of not letting my music define who I am as a person, it's the center of my life.
Yeah.
Go to sleep thinking about my music. I wake up thinking about my music. And especially this week being so close to the EP, I can really genuinely see how important the project is to me, because it's just constantly listening to the tracks, making sure everything's ready to go, finding out how we can spread it out more. And I can't control anything in life bar myself.
Well, that's been proven this year.
Yeah, essentially. It's literally a case of I play the cards that I'm given and everything except my music. And my music, I love the fact that I'm in a position where I can do it at home. I can be independent with it. I can work with whoever I want, whenever I want, on my own timetable and say so. I didn't want to take it for granted, and Disruption and Order was a name that I just admired simply for the way it sounded from 2017. Yeah. The idea of this EP was never new to me. It just took a leap of faith to get it done, because I'm always so scared of my music not reaching the goals that I set for it. And it's a case of, to me anyway, it's a beautiful project. It's my first body of work. It wouldn't be fair to everybody involved if I didn't put it out. So you just take the jump and see what happens, and you just hope for the best, really.
Sorry, did you say you've had this title for since 2017? Essentially,
yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That's a ride. 3 years.
Yeah, it has been. It's just, I even wish I still had the pictures that I had made around it. It was always the idea of a revolution in myself, which is why when I teased that, I said the revolution will now be televised, because through this project, I'm documenting the revolution, and this is just the beginning of it. So even as early as 2017, I would always say the revolution will now be televised, the revolution will now be televised through Disruption and Order. I kind of only really started to detail it once I decided to take the project by its throat and go the full quarter with it. But the idea of the EP and the title has always been in my head. It was just a case of taking it from an idea and making it a plan and an action.
Absolutely brilliant. Cannot wait for it to come out. And that was a brilliant, like, kind of, how do I put it, description and kind of summary of it all, getting to know you and getting to know your disruption and your order and what you have control over and your revolution that will be televised. Going to leap into Fortune as a person for a quick minute. So I've made us a little game.
Not about it.
What we're going to do is going to imagine where it's either at a wedding or in a club or anywhere that there's a DJ. You've been popped up into the booth and you've been handed the aux cord. And basically, I'm going to give you like a context, and it's like, what song would you play if this?
Oh God. Okay, hit me.
Going to start off nice and easy. Any song by an Irish artist other than yourself.
Any song?
Any song by an Irish artist.
I'd probably say "Glue" by Jafaris.
I heard that on the radio when I was up at 2 a.m. last night. Just by chance. Great first release since the album Stride. The one that you want to get everyone in the room to cry to.
To cry to. Leslie by Dave.
What an icon, Dave.
I tried, yeah.
Yeah. What now? A song to encourage slow dancing.
Slow dancing. This is out of my element.
Well, you were the one who was talking about girls and Blackberry Babe and stuff.
All right, you got me. Yeah.
Something nice and romantic.
My nice and romantic would always be 90s hip hop. I need to really think about this one.
Well, everyone has their own version of nice and romantic.
I guess, yeah. But if we're thinking slow dancing,
what would you want to slow dance to?
I don't even think I could find myself slow dancing. Probably a song called "Can't You See" by Notorious B.I.G.
Lovely. Are you not gonna like have a first dance at a wedding or something?
I, honest to God, don't even know how I'm going to manage to get myself to have my first dance on a wedding, but it's gonna be a lot of lessons, a lot of tripping over, and a lot of blisters on my feet.
You'll factor a choreographer into your budget.
And it's probably gonna cost the most out of the whole wedding.
Probably. Any song off any of the songs off whatever your favorite album is. Yeah, usually it stumps people trying to even figure out their favorite album, let alone pick one song.
That's where I had to start with my favorite album. Yeah. Any song at all?
Any of the songs?
"Mortal Man" by Kendrick Lamar.
Oof, lovely. And which album for the listeners?
"To Pimp a Butterfly," the last track.
Absolutely lovely. Your guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure, musicals.
Oh?
The Alexander Hamilton musical.
Oh, I know lots of people who've been watching that. I have not watched it, but
I listened to the first half of the musical in 2016 when it was fresh and new. And just when it came on Disney Plus, that's when I decided to listen to the whole thing. And I can easily say that it's probably going to be my most listened to album for the whole year.
Brilliant. You'll be getting your Spotify 2020 in December, and we're all going to see a nice bit of Hamilton there. This one is just as a coincidence because you happen to be sharing a release day with probably, I don't know, the most polar opposite album to Disruption Order that I can think of. Katy Perry, "Smile" is the name of the album. So a song that always makes you smile.
A song that always makes me smile is Heady One, The One.
Oof, nice. I saw them at Longitude last year. They were brilliant. Or is it he? Or was it him and a hype man?
It was Heady One, yeah, Heady One himself, yeah. I was supposed to see him as well, but I had gotten there too late and I had missed him.
Oh, song to create a mosh pit.
A mosh pit. Travis Scott, Goosebumps.
So much energy. And a throwback.
Eminem, Superman.
Absolutely. And any of your own songs.
My own songs?
Yeah. This is the big finale.
I have to suggest one song for everybody to listen to.
Just one song.
Top Dogs.
Top Dogs. Absolutely brilliant. So we also, we've been stuck in quarantine, not only listening to music, we've had a lot of time to watch it. What do you have on Netflix at the moment?
Right now, I just finished, I rinsed The Last Dance for, I think, the third time this week. And I'd watched a lot of Spanish TV. I'd gotten into Money Heist and Elite. But I think up next on my list is Peaky Blinders. But I think The Last Dance pretty much summarizes what I've been watching for a majority of quarantine.
Well, if you like Spanish stuff, I started watching Narcos 2 years ago and it was Brilliant. And I learned some Spanish out of it as well.
Yeah, it's handy, yeah. I'll definitely have to add that to the watch list. But yeah, that summarizes what I've been watching in any way.
Fortúne Igiebor, you've been an open book. What can we expect in 2021 when, I don't know, the world is maybe normal again?
We've been lucky enough to meet some producers and fellow artists who are open to making a whole project around Heartbroken Joe as a character, which is currently in the works right now. So we're into the second track of that mixtape. And then obviously we'll have my drill side, where we have the drill tape with Forbidden Beats, the producer who made Blackberry Babe, where we decided to call it I Hate Fortune. That's going to have a really, really interesting context to it, similar to Blackberry Babe, but changed for the theme. And I'm definitely looking into branching out into my screenplay writing and short film creating side of things, which is something I've been postponing and neglecting for the longest time, but it's definitely something we're going to start next year.
Absolutely brilliant. Disruption in Order, out now, independent Irish, made with love. Fortúne Igiebor, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Take care of yourself, Rui.